What's going on, guys? Welcome to Outside the Brand. This is your AEW Revolution 2023 post show right here on Outside the Brand. I am doing a solo tonight, but guys, what a night it was on Sunday night with AEW Revolution live on pay-per-view. It was absolutely amazing from top to bottom. Every single match delivered. AEW can't tell stories, or at least that's what the critics say, and I have to say they were dead wrong on Sunday night. Everything about AEW Revolution on Sunday was just absolutely incredible, from the 60-minute banger of an Ironman match with Bryan, Danielson, and MJF to the absolute brutal matchup that Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley had. Hell, to even the Christian Cage and Jungle Boy Buried Alive match slash casket match, known as the Final Burial. Everything about Revolution on Sunday was top notch. Everything delivered in the way that it was supposed to. A lot of stuff exceeded expectations. And yeah, I just thought it was a very, very well thought out and very well paced show. AEW Revolution is the standard bearer for what AEW pay-per-views should be from now on. I love Tony Khan. Don't get me wrong, I think Tony Khan does some great stuff, especially when it comes to pay-per-views. But the fact of the matter is, when you just overload the show with too many matches, people don't care for it as much. It's not that people don't care for it as much. I shouldn't say that. It's the fact of fatigue. Fatigue really does set in when you are watching an AEW pay-per-view when there's like 13, 14 matches on the card. Eight matches tonight on Sunday. It was a very good sweet spot. It was a very good sweet spot, mainly because of the fact, yeah, sure, you have the 1 hour main event, but 8 matches really proved and showed that you can have an AEW pay-per-view full of stories, full of great talent and great action, but just in a condensed environment, you know? We still had a very long night. It was about a 4-hour pay-per-view, but at the end of the day, I'd rather take a 4-hour pay-per-view with the 8 matches that we got, quality over quantity. That has always been the, standard bearer of what I always loved to go by when it came down to the NXT Black and Gold days with Triple H. And I feel like Tony Khan really addressed that on Sunday and actually got things done in that concise manner that he always should be doing from there on out. But guys, we're going to be going over everything that happened on Sunday for this episode of Tuesday's Talk. We'll just go over everything that happened on the AEW Revolution card. It was a very good show. And, obviously I'm not going to be able to do the 60-minute Ironman match justice, considering how fantastic that match was, but I'm going to be doing my best when it comes down to that. And yeah, guys, we're just going to be talking for however long it takes to do the Revolution post show. I'm not going to do, it's not going to be, these 2-hour, 2.5-hour extravaganzas that it usually is here tonight. I'm just going to go over all the matches and just going to tell you guys what I liked and what I didn't like about some stuff, and we'll just go from there, It's nothing too major, but at the end of the day, I did want to get out a post-show for Revolution, considering how great it was. And yeah, tomorrow is obviously AEW Dynamite, and we'll do a little bit of a preview of what's to come for that show, because Tony Khan has got some matches already announced for that show. And yeah, we'll just go over what we got to go over right here on Tuesday's Talk for OTB. Follow me on social media. All the TikTok links for everybody that is associated with OTB are down in the description below, but you guys can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at PhillyMatt_. I will go live tomorrow for the AEW Dynamite post show as well. I got something special planned for you guys on Thursday, and then obviously Friday for Friday Night SmackDown for that post show here on OTB. Go get the merch. We have merchandise over at Teespring. Teespring is the official home of OTB and its merchandise, so go get that today. Go get your hoodies and everything like that. I'm going to be updating the store very, very soon. And while we're at it, I want to thank our special sponsor. Our first ever sponsor on OTB is SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a great app on your smart device where you guys can go get your tickets for anything that your heart's desire. If you want to go to a wrestling show, go do that. If you want to go to a concert, go do that. If you want to just go to like any type of sporting event, you guys can go do that. But make sure you purchase your tickets through the SeatGeek app and use the code OTB for $20 off of your first purchase on SeatGeek. It's a great app, mainly because of the fact that when you're looking for tickets, it brings all of the prices from these ticketing websites and gives you the best deal based on the scoring format that it goes by. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best for that seat. And, you're always going to get a great deal based on the scale that they have it on, So I always use SeatGeek. It's a great time. It's always a great platform just to get your tickets, mainly because of the fact the fees are right there for you. It doesn't hide anything. It's right all there for you. And you're going to get the best deal. You're going to get the best deal possible, and that is right there with SeatGeek. So go download SeatGeek and use the code OTB for $20 off your first purchase when you use the app. So, all right, guys, let's get right into AEW Revolution 2023. Like I said, guys, I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm just going to be going down every single match, and we're just going to see what happens, So, we kick things off on the night with a very, very good open with the Jericho Appreciation Society being banned from ringside, and it's Chris Jericho versus Absolute Ricky Starks. This was a fantastic match. I absolutely loved everything about it. I'm gonna say absolutely, and it's not even my fault because the Absolute Ricky Starks thing. This was a really good match. I really enjoyed myself watching this thing. We had a great time watching it. Obviously, Ricky Starks picked up the win here over Chris Jericho, which is great. It was great for him. He is now really the only person. Not only person to have beaten Jericho twice, but he kind of, joins the list of the names. Chris Jericho is 0-4 at AEW Revolution. In all the 4 years that AEW Revolution has been around, the 4 pay-per-views that it's had, Chris Jericho has been in every single one of AEW Revolutions, but he has lost every single time that he's been on this pay-per-view, which is kind of cool. Ricky Starks, he's had a ton of momentum as of late. He's had a ton of momentum just going through, the motions of becoming this new babyface and becoming this figurehead for AEW. He is easily going to be a champion in this company, and I know Tony Khan sees a lot of potential in him for that. Now, this was a really good feud for Ricky Starks, mainly because of the fact that he's young in this business, right? But going with Chris Jericho and actually going toe-to-toe with him really can prove to the AEW executives and Tony Khan that he is the real deal, just like he says he is, and he can perform with the best of them, So I thought this was a very, very good opening contest for AEW Revolution. I thought this was a great choice to kick off the show and sent, they sent the crowd going. They got the crowd going really hot to start off the show, and I absolutely love that. So Starks looked frustrated when he hit a spear and it was a kick out by Chris Jericho. So he goes to pick Jericho up, but the two are right back at it, trading blows left and right until Starks is knocked down by Chris Jericho, who takes a thrust kick to the face by Starks instead. Starks then hits the turnbuckle for a moonsault, but Jericho slips away before catching Starks with the walls of Jericho. Starks fights out of it and gets back onto his feet, looking for a single leg Boston Crab of his own. Sammy Guevara then comes down, but is interrupted by Action Andretti. A baseball bat is slid into the ring, and with the referee distracted, Action Andretti by Action and Guevara, Jericho hit Starks with the bat to break the hold, but attempted a Judas effect and got blocked. The first time, really, that the Judas effect, to my knowledge, has ever been blocked, especially in that way, the way that Starks blocked it. And with the block, Starks fought back, hitting a Rochambeau onto the Ocho, and got the pinfall victory 1-2-3, and that was it. Ricky Starks picked up a win, a much needed win, and honestly a very, very good win over the Ocho and Chris Jericho. Very, very good match. I really did like that, and honestly right now, if you are really looking to do something with Ricky Starks, the guy is championship ready. The guy is absolutely championship ready. Absolute. The whole absolute thing is just it's just gonna get me flustered. So he is just championship ready. We already know that he faced MJF for the AEW World Championship at Winter is Coming. Would I like to see him back into the World Championship picture? Of course I would. But, at the end of the day, I think what you really need to start doing with him right now, you can do something with him in the TNT Championship. You can do something with him in the All-Atlantic Championship. You can do something with those singles championships right there in the so-called mid-card and make it worth something, I think Ricky Starks would be a great, proponent for the All-Atlantic Championship, and the way that his work rate has gone up tremendously ever since becoming, this figurehead and babyface that people have always wanted him to be. Hell, even the TNT Championship. I know the TNT Championship's kind of, in a limbo right now with, the flip-flopping of the championship, but if you actually had somebody like a Ricky Starks to try to bring prominence back to that championship and actually hold it for a little bit longer than, I don't know, say 28 days. Fucking terrible booking of the TNT Championship, but I think Ricky Starks could actually help in that regard. Point is, to me, I think he's just championship ready, and he is definitely ready for that spotlight, and hopefully we get something of that nature going for him very, very soon. We then he celebrated the big win before we shift gears right into the next match. Like, it was basically one match right after another, and the next match was the final burial match between Christian Cage and Jungle Boy. So Jungle Boy and Christian made their entrances, and the match immediately got underway. It just immediately got underway after Ricky just celebrated his victory. This was incredible. Jungle Boy, he was he was, kind of stagnant, when Christian went down with injury. Christian went down with injury, and obviously the feud had to stall for a little bit, because obviously when the feud just kind of randomly stopped, no one really knew why until it was announced that he was injured. Christian, that is. But at the end of the day, yeah, sure, the injury might have derailed the feud a little bit. But at the end of the day, I don't think it really mattered all that much. I think what they did in that match, in the final burial at Revolution on Sunday, the intensity was there, the heat was there between the two, and the crowd ate it up like absolutely crazy. And the final burial was a great quote unquote resting place for the feud to end. It was a great way for the feud to end, and honestly, I mean, obviously the right person won a Jungle Boy, but at the end of the day, we had an amazing match, an amazing end to the rivalry, and we'll see where things go from here. I was actually kind of expecting Luchasaurus to come into the play in all of this, but he wasn't here. It just turned out to be Jungle Boy and Christian Cage one-on-one, and it really did work. This was a huge success for me, and honestly, this whole mixture of a buried alive and casket match really worked for AEW. And if Tony Khan ever wanted to do something like this again when the feud actually does call for it, you got yourself a standard right there. You got yourself a match that you can obviously go to when the time is right, when the timing's needed for it, when the feud needs it. And you got a staple in AEW right there, man. The final burial for AEW as a staple matchup, you're good to go. This was a huge success. And I could not be more proud of Jungle Boy and Christian for allowing the feud. Yes, sure, it breathed. It went on for a long time. Mainly because of the fact of the injury. But the injury did not derail the feud whatsoever, and the right person won. Christian is always going to be fantastic, and at the end of the day, Jungle Boy, he's on the rise to becoming a single star within the company. Christian Cage, since coming in to AEW back at Revolution 2021, has been used to perfection. That's the one thing I love about AEW and the way that they use their legends. The way that AEW uses their legends, besides Jeff Jarrett, is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Christian Cage does fantastic stuff whenever he is involved in something. Jericho, whether you like him or whether you don't, now in this stage of his career, I personally like him, but that's just me. Whether you like Chris Jericho or not, they use him to the best of his ability, and they use him greatly. And another person I will give props to whenever they use him, Sting. When they use Sting, it is purposefully using him, and it is giving him the right chances to shine, and the right times to shine, and the right people to go out there and shine with. AEW uses their legends greatly, and I absolutely love the way that they do that. You may not like that legends sometimes do take up the spots of some wrestlers, and listen, if that's AEW, you gotta say it for WWE too. If that's WWE for you, you gotta say it for AEW as well. You may not like that, but at the end of the day, I think when it's all said and done, when you look at the two companies and say, all right, which company has used their legends to the best of their ability, but also used them in the correct way, AEW is leaps and bounds ahead when they use their legends compared to WWE. WWE uses their legends when they legitimately have nothing else to do. But AEW, on the other hand, they use their legends, yes. They use their legends, but they use them in compelling stories, and they actually get things done. with those legends. So, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Jungle Boy and Christian Cage killed it. And we'll go over the final parts of this match. So, Cage fights his way out and grabs a shovel, taking a big swing at Jungle Boy, who ducks out of the way, dropping Cage before locking in the snare trap with the shovel for added damage. Cage then looks out. He gets out of it as Perry is now the one setting Cage up for a concerto. Jungle Boy debates internally whether or not he should, connect with the concerto, and he does. He officially does. He does what he has to do in order to get the job done. He hit the concerto on Christian, and with the loud crack of the steel chairs, Perry made his decision and dragged Christian into the casket, pulling him into it, closing the door, and the casket, it basically, once the lid of the casket shut, it just went straight down into the grave. Fantastic. I don't know if that was actually supposed to happen or not, but if that was, fantastic visual of the casket being lowered down into the grave, and it just worked. That was fantastic, and it worked really well for that spot. Jungle Boy picked up the win. I absolutely loved it. I mean, there wasn't really much room for celebration for Perry as he's on his knees by the casket, thinking about what he did, about what he had to do in order to get things done with Christian Cage tonight, as we turned our attention to the trios match between the House of Black and the Elite. What I do have to say about this pay-per-view is that there wasn't really much time to breathe for the winners. Wasn't really much time for people to celebrate their victories, as of course once one match ended, we went right into the next match. And some people may like that, right after another. I personally don't, especially when it comes to stuff like this. I want the babyface to celebrate. I want the people, to have their moment to shine with the fans, with the audience, and actually get the adulation that they deserve and everything like that. So I like that they were. At some points, I liked that they were trying to get on with the show, because obviously we had the hour main event going. But also, let's let it breathe a little bit. That might be a little bit nitpicky, but that's just the way I kind of look at things. But regardless, we quickly transition into the video package for the AEW World Trios Championship match with the Elite and House of Black. Not really much to go through when it came to the video package sake, mainly because of the fact that they really didn't meet up for multiple reasons, but they did not meet up throughout the entire build of Revolution. But regardless, we all knew this was going to be a great match. House of Black, the Elite, we wanted this match, we've needed this match, and now we had this match on Sunday. Match of the Year candidate, easily. This was fantastic. The House of Black are fantastic. They're over as hell. Just by their entrances alone at times, they're just over. And the Elite, it's Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, bro. I mean, they're over. This was a spot fest, but man, was this such a good one, I'm not going to be able to do it justice, but we will go over the final portion of this match. This was just a really good show. a really good showing between two of the best trios in AEW, and we have new trios champions. I did not expect new trios champions coming out of this thing. I really didn't. For whatever reason, I didn't. I'm glad I was wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad that I was wrong. I wanted to be wrong. I wanted the House of Black to win this match. I just didn't think it was going to happen, and I had the Elite winning this in our prediction show. But I'm so glad to be wrong. I was so glad to be wrong. House of Black are your new trio champions, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not hesitant about it. I like the decision. I like the move. They need to do this move. The only thing I'm hesitant about is Tony Khan, but we'll get there. We ended up with just the House of Black, with just the House and Omega in the ring. But Malachi keeps his men back, and he goes right after Omega. The Bucks drop the other members of the House of Black and Buddy and Brody. And while they were going to go for Malachi, Brody hit Brody with a super kick. The party is basically not over as the Elite try to do a BTE trigger to Malachi Black, but Buddy breaks up the pinfall after it connected. A trigger onto the Bucks shove him aside before looking for the Meltzer driver, but they drop Buddy Matthews before Matthews and Brody King could hit the Dante's Inferno on Matt Jackson, and they get the pinfall victory. And that's it. Dante's Inferno got the win for the House of Black, and that is how they became the new AEW World Trios Champions. Fantastic stuff. I love it. I wanted them to win. I'm glad that they did win. I just didn't think they were going to win. It's the Elite. I did not think that the Elite were going to lose the Trios Championships. Mainly because of the fact of somebody that came back later on in the night and somebody I thought was going to come back. But they didn't. The person that I'm thinking of will come back to AEW. It's only a matter of time, but we got to figure out when he is coming back. But yeah, new trios champions in the House of Black of Brody King, Malachi Black, and Buddy Matthews. Fantastic stuff. I loved it all. The lights go out, and then when they came back on, they disappeared as the former champions are left to be consoled by Don Callis. After the match, we transitioned to the next title match, which was the Women's World Championship Triple Threat match between Saraya, Ruby Soho, and Jamie Hayter. This was a very good three-way match with these ladies. It's not that I wasn't not interested in this. It's just the fact of the matter is we really didn't have much of a story going in here. I understand it's the ex-WWE girls versus the AEW originals. It's the AEW originals versus the AEW outsiders, I think they're calling them. I understand that, right? But this whole thing was Ruby Soho. Where does she lie? Where does she align herself with? Is she going to be with the originals? Is she going to be with the outsiders? She's not an original, so you kind of had to go into this with a little bit of, a grain of salt and say, hey, listen, she's not really she's not really an original, so, I mean, you kind of had to suspend your disbelief when it came to that. And when it all came down to it, Jamie Hayter, thank God, Jamie Hayter retained the championship. She retained the title in a very good triple threat match. And we knew where Ruby Soho lied all along. So, Tony tried to get involved, Tony Storm, that is, trying to get involved on the apron, but it's dropped by Hayter, who gets hit by Saraya. Baker now tries to get involved on the apron to no avail, and Ruby hit the destination unknown for a very close near fall. I thought she was actually possibly going to win the title. Ruby and Hayter then go at it, and Saraya gets caught into the crosshairs before Hayter and Ruby exchange near falls, only for Hayter to catch Ruby for a surprise pinfall victory, and that got the job done, as Jamie Hayter retained her AEW Women's World Championship. Tony Storm then came into the ring and started to attack the champion, but was interrupted briefly by Britt Baker. Saraya gets involved and stands tall until Ruby Soho stands in between them and says, just enough. Hayter then shows her appreciation by raising Ruby's hand, but she takes a no future kick to the face by Ruby Soho. She attacks Baker next to Tony Storm as the cameraman goes down at ringside, and Saraya hands her a can of spray paint, allowing Ruby to spray the letter L on the champ and Britt Baker's stomachs, and that's how they ended the segment. Ruby Soho joined the Outsiders, and yeah, we know where her alliance lies now. I love Taz on commentary, mainly because of the fact that he really did bring that out, saying it's not like she was really ever an original to begin with, and JR and Tony Schiavone are like, yeah, I mean, you're kind of right about that. So they were kind of like proving, a little bit, and saying that, like, yeah, I guess you're right. She really wasn't really an original to begin with, so it does make sense for her to join the Outsiders. It only made sense for her to join the Outsiders, so it works. It really does. And honestly, now with everything going on, now that the Outsiders are basically complete, I want a fucking explanation as to the reason why they exist. Why did they just all of a sudden randomly say, hey, screw it, we're just going to come together and just say fuck you to the originals of AEW? Why? Nobody's given us that reason yet, so hopefully we get that sooner rather than later. We needed that a few weeks ago, but now we definitely need it, because it's a trio, it's a legit faction now. You gotta actually do something with it. Up next, we had the Texas Death Match. And this was... I'm not going to be able to do it justice. This was way too brutal, way too violent, way too bloody. But I love that. This was everything that we needed to be and more, honestly. The one spot that really kind of had me grossed out was the fork, the fork spot into Hangman's, bloody head. I'm glad I finished my dinner before that match, because if I didn't, I would be having an upset stomach. I probably should have an upset stomach now that I'm going to be talking about this shit, but holy cow, this was fucking incredible. The blood was needed in this match. Everything about this, I understand people do not like blood in professional wrestling, and that's personal preference, but holy shit, this was fucking great. Hangman and Page picked up the win here. Very good winner there. Honestly, like the right call was to have Hangman win here, and hopefully, if you want my honest opinion, I understand MJF has like this list of people that he's mostly going to be facing. throughout his championship run. But if it's not like an in order type of a list, I'd make Hangman Adam Page the number one contender for MJF at Double or Nothing. I would. I would have Hangman Adam Page be the next challenger for MJF at Double or Nothing. It makes sense. He's been deserving of a world championship match for a little while now. Let's get him involved and let's get that match happening at Double or Nothing. MJF and Hangman Adam Page. That's the match I would book for Double or Nothing. Now, the referee starts to count, basically. This is basically won by knockout or submission. Knockout is basically just the referee's count of 10. So basically it's a last man standing match type of ruling or a submission. So the referee begins to count again. And Mox grabs a chain once more. And at the count of 9, Page is up again. Page pulls the chain to bring Mox in for a huge lariat. And Page has the brick right now, looking for the Deadeye before Mox fights out of it. Page then turns things around for a rear naked choke of his own, wrapping the chain around him to add some damage until Mox hit a low blow to escape it. Mox then taunts Page, who responds with a brick to the head of Jon Moxley. Page then gets onto the ring apron looking for the buckshot lariat once again, but this time it does connect before sending Moxley over the top rope. Page has the chain wrapped around Moxley's neck at this point, so when he got sent over the top rope, he was choking him. He was basically hanging him from the top rope with the chain, and that forced Moxley to tap out. It forced him to tap out, and that's how Hangman picked up the win, because Hangman hung Jon Moxley with the chain over the top rope. Just violent, brutal, bloody, everything that the Texas Death Match needed to be, and it was. So like I said, this is a very, very good feud. They turned a real-life situation with the concussion of Hangman and turned it into a feud for Revolution. Fantastic stuff. This is just everything that it needed to be and more. I can't say anything more about it. This is just a very, very good feud for both Mox and Hangman. And hopefully we get that Hangman and MJF match at AEW's Double or Nothing event when they do go back to Vegas. We then had the low point of the night, and it's not even that. It's not even the match was bad. It's just the match didn't really exceed anybody's expectations. And I don't think really anybody had good expectations going into this. Wardlow and Samoa Joe. It wasn't a bad match. We have a new TNT champion in Wardlow. We all know that now. Wardlow does defend the TNT championship tomorrow against Powerhouse Hobbs, who is the face of the Revolution after winning the Revolution ladder match last week's Dynamite. I just don't like the flip-flopping of the championships. You guys know this. If you guys have been watching my TikToks, you definitely know that. Yeah, this was not. It wasn't a bad match by any means, but going after a match like Hangman and Moxley, it was gonna be tough for anybody. Holy shit. We do have a new TNT champion though, and Samoa Joe had another short reign as TNT champion. Joe brings Wardlow up to his shoulders for a Death Valley driver, but only got a near fall for that. The champ follows up with some hard offense in the corner, Well, Wardlow is fighting out and out of a muscle buster and hit a modified power bomb for a very, very close 2 count. Um, the champ responded with a clothesline. Joe then taunts to the crowd before looking for a powerbomb on Wardlow, but the challenger escaped and hit a dropkick followed by a rear naked choke of his own. Joe is fading, and he is out. Joe passed out in the rear naked choke, and the referee called for the bell, and we have a new champion. So Joe passed out, and the new TNT champion is Wardlow. Now, I don't know what's happening on Wednesday. Obviously, we have the TNT championship match with Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs. If Powerhouse Hobbs wins tomorrow, I'm not going to be shocked. But if he loses, I'm not going to be shocked either, because we need a fucking championship reign that does not last. Like, we need a championship reign that lasts over a month. Please, for this championship. Like, Jesus Christ. But, regardless, new TNT champion, Wardlow. I hope they prove me wrong when it comes to this championship. I just don't like the way that it's been booked. Plain and simple. But Wardlow celebrates. The referee presents him with the championship, but we see Hobbs in the stands watching with the ring that symbolizes his shot at the TNT championship on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. Hobbs and Wardlow stare each other down as the new champ celebrates in the ring. The AEW World Tag Team Title Fatal 4-Way match is on the line. We have the Acclaimed, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, Orange Cassidy, and Danhausen versus the champions, the Guns. I just really wasn't interested in this Fatal 4-Way. They made it way too complicated. The match it should have been was the Acclaimed versus the Guns, but they didn't do that. They put these other two teams in there so that one of them could get the pin. So that one of them could get pinned, I should say. The Guns retained their titles. Good. That should have happened. The Guns retaining their titles is the right move. I know people probably don't like that they retained their titles, but it was the right move. And they got what they needed to get done on Sunday. So Jarrett gets a blind tag and sends Austin out before going for a guitar shot, but Caster goes for the guitar instead. Aubrey ended up intervening, which was stupid. It's a Fatal 4-Way. It's a no DQ match, so why the hell is Aubrey getting in the way of a babyface going to use a weapon? It's like babyfaces can't use weapons in no disqualification matches anymore. It's fucking dumb. You were going to allow Jeff Jarrett to hit Caster with the guitar, but you weren't going to let Caster hit Jarrett with it. It's kind of just, it definitely shows the flaws there. That was not the right move, and you should have just let them go, But, yeah, so she intervened, and it basically cost them everything. She took the guitar away as Lethal snuck in a weapon and on Caster, but Jarrett only got a near fall after getting the pinfall. Jarrett then starts arguing with Aubrey over this, which turns into a shoving contest, and it ended up having Austin Gunn getting the blind tag, as does Danhausen. Danhausen with a curse and a pump kick, but he avoids the 310 to Lethal, and he gets the Guns to pin for the win, and that is it. The Guns retained the AEW World Tag Team titles. So, good stuff there. They're going to celebrate their win in the ring, and was going to get interviewed by Renee Paquette. They take a moment to brag about it, obviously, asking the crowd, who are the Ass Boys now? They talk about the teams they had beaten, declaring themselves the best tag team in the world. But FTR's music hits. FTR fucking returns at Revolution. They rush to the ring. And they attack the champions. They end with the spike pile driver onto Colton, followed by the Shattered Machine onto Austin, and they hold the tag team titles up high. They're going after those tag team titles, and they will beat the Guns for the AEW tag team titles. I truly believe that, and we will have FTR as tag team champions very soon. Very soon. And with that being said, with FTR being back, so will CM Punk. CM Punk will be back in AEW. And it's mainly because of the fact of FTR. You know, FTR and CM Punk are very good friends in real life, and at the end of the day, Tony Khan knows he wants CM Punk back. Tony Khan knows what CM Punk brings to AEW and the company. Not just revenue-wise, but the feuds that, are still yet to be explored with CM Punk. Tony Khan knows what he has to do. If people can, put egos aside and actually, fucking work together and not act like fucking 5-year-olds, we can actually get things going and make AEW really worth watching. So, we'll see. Are we playing like fucking childs over here, or are we gonna act like fucking adults and get things done? We'll see. Back at ringside, we see Bryan Danielson make his way to the ring for our main event. It is the 60-minute Ironman match. It was followed by the arrival of MJF in a very interesting mask, orchestral, entrance here. And we get to the ring introductions by both men before we ring the bell to start the 60-minute Ironman match. This was just insane. Okay, so these notes actually have the pinfalls one by one. So I'm actually going to be able to do that here. So thank God. So Bryce starts the standing count again. As neither man seem to be stirring. They're both down at this point. He's counting both of them. Until the count of 9, but Bryan kips up and MJF barely gets up. Only to take a running knee by Bryan Danielson. And it was a pin for the win. And we have Bryan Danielson up 1-0 with 34 minutes left to go in the match. Bryan Danielson back on his feet, waiting for another Busaiku knee until the now standing MJF collapses, only to do a low blow to Bryan Danielson. At this point in time, Bryan Danielson was at 2 pinfalls to 1. 2 pinfalls to none. He was up 2-0. Because of the low blow, MJF got 2 quick pinfalls because of the low blow. The low blow was effective and, painful enough to where Bryan Danielson got pinned 2 times in a row, and we are at 2 pinfalls apiece for both Bryan and MJF at 32 minutes to go. And basically, and people need to understand this, when you're tied in an Ironman match, you're basically back at 0. You're back at 0. So, at that point in time, if you're tied, in an Ironman match, you would think the champion just retains, mainly because of the fact it's a tie. You can't change championship on a tie. So you would think the champion just retains. So this match continues to go on back and forth, fucking insane. We have MJF clutching his knee on the outside, and Bryan looks worse for wear as Bryce comes checking in on both of them with just over 20 minutes left to go in the match. MJF attacks and cuts attacks the cut on Bryan's head before bringing him back into the ring, heading for the Heat Seeker for the pin, and that scored the pinfall. So MJF is up right now 3-2 with 19 minutes left to go in the match. We then move on as we continue to go through the motions here of this match. With 10 minutes left to go in the match, Bryan Danielson scored another pinfall as Bryan gets to the corner and ended up hitting a Busaiku knee before locking in the label lock on the champ, and MJF tries to fight out of it as he taps out, and we are tied at 3 apiece. So we're basically back at 0 again with less than 10 minutes to go left in the match. So we continue to go on, the 10 minutes continue to go by quickly, and MJF tried to get towards the rope when he was in a single leg Boston Crab, and anytime that he was trying to get to the ropes, Bryan would just pull him into the center of the ring. With less than a minute left to go, MJF nearly tapped out, but stops himself, inching towards the ropes again. 10 seconds left to go on the timer. Danielson grabs the free arm, and with final seconds ticking away, MJF taps out, but only after the clock expired. So it ends in a tie. Justin Roberts calls it a draw, and Tony Schiavone, who was getting stuff in his headset by Tony Khan. Tony Khan said that, hey, we're not going to end this on a draw like this. We are going to go into sudden death. Tony talks to Justin Roberts and Bryce, saying that it will be going to sudden death, saying that it was from Tony himself, and they didn't restart the match, but they went into sudden death rules. Danielson pulls MJF towards the center before kicking the injured leg, locking it in before taking the ring away, the Dynamite Diamond ring, that is, from the champion. MJF is struggling not to tap out despite the single leg Boston Crab and how much pain he is in that leg. The champ inches towards the ropes and grabs it, but he also taps, confusing Bryan into thinking that he won the match, but he really didn't. MJF has an opening and grabs the oxygen tank that these guys were actually using when the 60 minutes were over. People were, the EMTs and everybody like that was just trying to get oxygen into these systems, into their systems, mainly because of the fact they were going at it for fucking 60 minutes, He cracks Bryan with the oxygen tank, and because of that, with Bryan being knocked out, MJF locked in the label lock on Bryan Danielson, and Bryan had no choice but to just pass out. He passed out. No, he doesn't pass out. My bad. He tries to get out of it, but really can't. Bryan continues to fight out of it. MJF pulls him back into the crossface, causing Bryan to drop down, and he taps out. Bryan Danielson tapped out, which is fucking insane. And with the winner via submission, of it being a 4-3 ending for the Ironman match. MJF retains the AEW World Championship. There was basically there is no celebration for the champ here, as he is almost knocked out of energy that he is extended here. He's laid out, draped over the corner as his music continues to play. Finally sitting up and enjoying his win as much as he can before fainting again. He crawls towards the corner, propping himself against the corner to soak in what he just done, and the show goes off the air. This was easily, in my mind, I've watched a lot of Ironman matches heading into this, I've watched so many Ironman matches heading into this. In my generation, right? And from what matches I have seen in the Ironman match genre, to me, this is the greatest Ironman match I have ever seen. This is the greatest Ironman match of all time to me. This is the greatest Ironman match of all time to me. Now, like I said, I watched a ton of Ironman matches going into this. That way I know what I'm getting into. I'm glad that we didn't actually get what I thought we were going to get. I thought we were only going to get one pinfall. I did. I thought we were only going to get one pinfall throughout the 60 minutes and get things done. No, we did not. We had 7 pinfalls in this thing. 7 decisions. This is a real, true, classic Ironman match. And this is the best Ironman match I have ever seen in my generation, and basically for me ever. This is my greatest Ironman match of all time. It might be controversial, but you guys let me know. I loved everything about this. Ricky Starks picked up the win to kick off the night. Jungle Boy picked up the win there in their match. House of Black became new trios champions. Jamie Hayter staying the women's world champion. Hangman getting the win in the death match. Wardlow becoming the TNT champion. The Guns retaining their tag team titles. And MJF retaining his world championship. Everything about this show fucking delivered. Every match has stories. Every match continued to elevate itself over and over and over again. And yes, there may not have been a great build for Revolution, but damn it, this pay-per-view fucking delivered. It succeeded expectations. Absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to see what they do in Vegas for Double or Nothing. Guys, that's going to do it for your AEW Revolution 2023 post-show right here on OTV. If you guys liked what you heard tonight, hit the like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for all notifications, and stay tuned because tomorrow we have the fallout from AEW Revolution on AEW Dynamite. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We will see you guys tomorrow on the AEW Dynamite post show on OTB. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Peace out.